I like Lethal Company. I think it's a good game. I don't think I need to introduce the game because I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Lethal Company is from all the clips that we've seen online.
Feel so good, man.
Why?
It's a good game for the $10 you pay for it, and you can basically play with anybody if they just own a PC or any computer. Playing with friends is obviously the best way to play the game. I had some really great times on Lethal Company with my friends.
I've been hanging.
Get this motherfucker away from me! Get him away from me!
We started playing for a couple months, and I think it got to the point where a lot of us were joining in that we just had to install mods so that we could play with up to more than 4 players. Well, it's not like we used it often, but I guess the cosmetics were pretty cool. We kept playing more and more, having some good times, and getting better at the game, and after a couple months, we got bored. I definitely don't think it was the game's fault. Like, the game was literally in early access, it had not even released. And it was like $10, and for 30 hours of just pure enjoyment, it's pretty good. For a while, it didn't look like there was gonna be any Lethal Company update anytime soon. And Seeker said that he really wanted content updates to Lethal Company to feel like he broke into an alien zoo and released all the animals. So you could tell that it would be a while before another update would come out. So in the meantime, me and my friends just decided to play other games such as Dead by Daylight and fucking Fortnite. Eventually, a new Lethal Company update did come out in the form of a public beta, including giant robots. So me and my friends decided to hop back on just to see what the new content was, but there was something pretty funny about this. So, you know the original main content that we were playing through before the update came out? You know, the same content that we got tired of? We basically had to go through the exact same content for days just before we could go to one fucking moon. There was a free moon, but there was not really anything interesting there. You also know that new enemy that was added to the new beta? Yeah, there's only a small chance that they're actually gonna spawn at that moon. So back to the actual grind that we had to go through. The grind was not easy since we just kept dying and only one of us survived each day. It really wasn't fun. Like, the original enjoyment that we had from this game just turned into a chore. Me and my friends kept trying to grind, and at one point we just decided to give up and stop playing. One of them even uninstalled the game. After we all collectively gave up on Lethal Company, we realized literally only a day later that there was a secret mode that only costed 200. I know you may be asking, well, Weibo, if there's actually just a cheaper moon, then what is there to complain about? That's actually a good question. This isn't really a complaint, this is more of a concern for the game. So the rest of this video will just be more talking about what this concern of mine is for the game. Before I do talk about it, I think I just need to showcase what the gameplay loop is, because I think it's gonna be pretty important for the rest of this video. Okay, so I'm gonna sound like a massive nerd here, but let's do a graph. So this would be the quotas. So this is quota 1, and so forth. And this would be the playtime. So you would spend most of your playtime on quota 1, because it's the very first quota you do, and when you fail a quota, this is where you'll end up. So this is what makes most of your playtime. And quota 2, if you get past quota 1, this will also be where you end up, but you have less playtime because it isn't the first quota you do, but you're more likely to pass over here. So the more you play, the less playtime you have on each quota, because it gets harder every time, because it always increases the amount of credits you have to, the amount of scrap you have to submit for your quota. So you end up having less playtime the more you go on each quota. This is gonna be important. So why did I show this graph? The thing is, I feel like there is a very clear difference between endgame Lethal Company and the beginning part of it. You have more access to content by the endgame part with more moons and items. But the thing is, you also have less playtime by that point compared to the beginning part. There's already people calling the game repetitive, so just imagine having to go through that repetitive content when you fail a quota and are back at the beginning before you can go back to the actually new and fresh content. Just imagine how demotivating that must be. So with this new update making the new moon like 1500 credits, it concerns me. I just hope that the next updates after this aren't like this, adding moons that are just extremely grindy to get to. So this is what I feel like the next updates should be more focused on. I feel like Lethal Company updates should be more focused on refining moons, adding overhauls to them. That's because basically all the moons that you go to all have the same old factory layout unless you like go to Dine. I think Dine actually had something like that for the public beta. The hills and the outside layout for the moon were changed. But these updates I don't think should be focused on the outside parts of the moon, instead the actual inside layout for them. Maybe a good start would be to change the layouts for Vow and Mart. Maybe let them have their own exclusive swampy layout for the rooms. Add some exclusive indoor monsters for them too. After refining and overhauling the current moons, add new moons that aren't extremely grindy to get to, or just make them free. So I feel like this next change I'd recommend is going to be more extreme. So you know that gameplay loop I explored earlier? There should be settings for the game that allow you to make the game easier for yourself and others. So for example, a setting that makes it so that you just don't lose everything when all of your crew dies, and also a setting that doesn't raise the quota that much each time you finish one. These settings could be turned on or off when you start a new game file. So at the start of each game, at the top right corner of the screen, before you go to a moon, everyone could see these settings whether they're turned off or not. These settings could make it harder to pick a random lobby that has the settings that you want to be turned on or not. But there are also a lot of people playing the game, so it shouldn't be that hard to find specific lobbies just for that. And most people that play this game also just play with their friends, not randoms. I think these changes would help with the issue of just not having enough time in the end game. So I think that's all I really want to say for Lethal Company and its changes. For all I know, Seekers is already working on changes like these, except for probably the game settings, and this video could just be pointless. This video was also not made with a script, so I just decided to go straight ahead with no script. So some parts of this video could just sound awkward, and if you want me to elaborate on some of the things I said in this video, tell me in the comments and I'll respond. I really hope that this video gets lucky with the YouTube algorithm so that people could see it and report some of these issues with the game. Well, that's all I really have to say.
It is busting him down like spider style right now.
Whoa! Whoa!
Dang! It's got some bust moves, man!